Hey guys, and welcome back to Castle Crush. And today, as you can see, or maybe saw in one of the previous videos, probably not, I think it's just in this video, I hit level 12, castle level 12, and that's pretty cool. So I thought I'd do a video here just playing with that to see if it made any difference at all. So we do have a Black Knight deck here. I've used this sort of one pretty frequently, so I figured we'd jump back in here and get some practice with that again, and opening up some chests. But pretty cool. Castle level 12 has been something I've been kind of working towards for quite a long time now, and I almost wasn't sure if I was going to get there because I've been really waiting for some sort of card to even bother leveling up. For a while I didn't really have that much gold, but I've been saving up gold over time, and I think from doing one of the chest openings, I'd also gotten some gold, so I realized that I was really close to castle level 12, so it was like, let's go for it and see if that extra health for the castle makes any difference. I'm kind of hoping it will. So this deck, again, it's a Valkyrie deck that uses the Black Knight as a finisher card, and I used to use this or a variation of this deck quite frequently for tournaments, and it was okay. I felt like it was pretty decent. These days, I don't know. I honestly felt better leveling with that deck I used that the #1 player had been using, that I did a video on a few days ago. I felt better actually ranking with that than I did with this, but sometimes there is just a comfort level with it. And sometimes it is really about getting comfortable with playing the right cards in the right situations. And I think some of that just takes practice with the deck. And if I haven't played with it in a little while, sometimes I have to get reacclimated to what cards I play in what types of situations in a specific deck to make sure that I have the right cards saved to counter different strategies. This match is pretty tough because I realized here, I was like, I'm not going to be able to get rid of that dragon. So I just started going at their castle. I probably should have gone for a Black Knight in the top lane first, because I think I'd try and go for it here, but by that time, oh no, yeah, I really should have put a Black Knight in the top lane. It might not have worked, but at least it would have had some chance of getting to their castle. I was really hoping I was going to get a fire element a little bit sooner. Their dragon just got too close and didn't really have the right cards to get rid of it. So if they're just playing normal dragons without giant growth, I can clear those with this deck sometimes. And that's kind of what the lightning is often for. It can also work well if I use like double demons in this deck. That can work decently for getting rid of dragons, or at least weakening them, and then the Black Knight can finish them off. I was really loving this deck against some rushing decks too. It's important for trophy pushing to have counters in your deck to rushing decks, because they're just so common. They're such a common deck strategy that you kind of have to play prepared for them. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of matches, so I do not like Orc's Horde playing against it. It's definitely a card that often I have problems with this particular strategy. Just because Fire Elemental doesn't really work so well against Orcs. And the Black Knight, when they're pushing in all 3 lanes, the Black Knight is pretty hard to get in all 3 lanes. So it makes it hard to counter the Orc's Horde. I got kind of lucky here, was able to just sort of wear down the orcs and kind of weather that storm that they put on. And then I know I also have to be fairly aggressive with Archer's Tribe because I don't really have a great counter to it in this deck. So even though a demon isn't really a good counter, it works, and I've learned over time that you have to just be aggressive with taking down the archers, because otherwise they'll end up putting them behind something, and then you're in trouble. So yeah, I've learned with some of these type of some of these types of decks I just have to be aggressive because it's difficult with this deck to cover all 3 lanes, especially when I like to use the Fire Elemental more offensively or as a counter than defensively. So I have to be very aggressive with the other cards. Here I was using the Fire Elemental defensively because I felt like I didn't have a choice. I was just just missed that with the Fire Elemental, and now I'm like, uh-oh. I have to try and save this match. Can we save it? Can we save this? If I didn't stop that Black Knight, I definitely would have lost. But now I have 3 Fire Elementals. Oh, they put down the arrows. I might just play this demon. I played it because I wanted to maintain that positioning, and the Fire Elemental was so low on health. I didn't want to have to start from my castle again. And I need some cards to do damage with. So, still hanging in there in this match. But it's pretty close. I've got to keep them off of my castle somehow. And Valk is getting low, so I have to just play my cards. And we are just going to keep countering what they're playing. As you can see, they have the castle health on me going into this overtime situation. Can I get some damage on their castle in overtime? Remains to be seen. They're countering my stuff pretty well, but unless they have arrows here, and it doesn't seem like they do in time, and now I get in the necessary damage, and that's game over. Just like that, despite the fact that a lot of my cards were fairly weak in health at the end there, they just didn't seem to have the right cards to stop me in the end. Dangerous situation here with that catapult early. I was able to lightning it down. And got lucky here guessing where the shaman was. But this is a good job by my opponent getting control early. They have me on the back foot for sure. I'm trying to be really, really patient though. Just kind of feel this one out. Get my Valkyrie down so I can have a mana advantage and then start blocking. And then at this point I knew I had a chance. Even though my health was low, I was like, unless they have a bunch of cannon shots sitting in their pocket, I should be in decent shape. Although it's hard to cover all 3 lanes like that. Meteor. It's dangerous. That's why I was trying to play those extra crystals to try and get some health back. One more meteor would finish me. So yeah, I played the extra crystal. I'm like, I need that health. And wow, they were so close to finishing me off right there. I cannot believe I was able to pick up that win. So this looks like a rushing deck right off the bat. I don't know why else they play those statues. Usually that is for a rushing deck. And there's the Reaper, and I was waiting for that moment. That's my favorite way to start off a rushing deck counter, is to go after that Reaper, because it's definitely the card that's going to mess you up the most if you don't catch it right away. And having a spike statue is just like the perfect counter, because most of the time if you play it right in front of them when they play the Reaper, they can't really react that fast, especially early in the game. And usually it's toast unless they have a gust of wind, but even then I usually catch it. Here I was thinking about the demon, but I was like, yeah, no, I can probably, between the ability and the hit, it can get the Reaper down. This is still dangerous though. That rage isn't good. I'm like thinking about what I wanted to do there too much probably. Just trying to eliminate as much of the damage cards as possible. And then going back the other way on the counter move, and that, I mean, that's how you counter a rushing deck. You can see they're going again in the middle lane, but I'm not going to worry because I have the damage advantage now, and they don't even have a standard bearer. So definitely worked out well for me in that situation, I would say. Pretty thrilled about that, really. So yeah, again, looks like another rushing deck. And I was thinking, let's get rid of that pirate first, because ranged cards can be hard to get rid of later. So went ahead and it did that. The dwarves aren't doing too much damage, but I do need to get rid of them at some point. But we focus on what we can counter and got rid of the skeletons. And now we'll get rid of the archers. And definitely next has to be the catapult. Have to keep countering what they play. And now we need to block siege ballistas. And then we can go in for this close range. Catch them frozen. But I'm losing a lot of castle health, so now I have to concentrate on the dwarves again. Try to start going all three lanes, just countering a bit. I take that opportunity to go ahead and get the ranged cards down too, and then we can finish them off. Just a really systematic approach to countering that barrage of early game stuff they played, and really that just slow and steady approach paid off there. It looked pretty dangerous, but other than the catapult, they didn't really have anything that was doing a ton of damage to me. So I think that also kind of helped, because I was able to ignore a lot of stuff, which was good. Again, it looks like lots of rushing decks, really. I mean, this is why you have to, or at least lots that start out with some early game stuff that you have to clear. So this is why it's important to have some counters early to rushing style decks. Because even if it doesn't end up being a rushing deck, it's still good to have just something to get rid of an early push with. And that person certainly tried to push early, but I actually did a great job here minimizing the damage they could do early. And realizing here I could just get rid of whatever was available to me there. And now I pretty much know where their shaman is and can take that out too. And that puts me in a good position here, as they don't have any damage cards really out there on the board. And now I'm in a position to go on the offensive, except I need to maybe get that catapult down. Although in the end I'm like, yeah, just go for the fire elemental. And they block it briefly, but I'm able to still pick up the win. So, good results. Good results. This match here, though, definitely looked like I was in huge trouble. I mean, really big trouble here. I failed to stop them from metamorphing this thing, and it really got out of hand very quickly, as many metamorph decks do if you don't stop them. And yeah, 3 mud elementals against me here, and they are just pouring it on giant growth. I'm like, oh no, I'm so done for in this match, but I decided to keep trying anyways. And 1 mud elemental down. I'm like, okay, let's reduce the damage that other one can do. And all of a sudden I got the mud elementals off of the board, so I'm like, okay, maybe let's get the Valk out there, double down on that mud elemental, since those are what are doing most of the damage. They make a nice play to rush it. I'm like, okay, let's delay. Just throw everything we have into this stack. Everything we can possibly get in there. And suddenly all that's left is that one mud elemental, and I'm like, okay, I just cleared everything. How did that happen? But another mud elemental. But no, the demon coming to the rescue time and time again here. And now I'm going back on the offensive. And could this be a comeback? Could this possibly be a comeback? This would be a pretty insane comeback considering it definitely looked like I should have lost. But no, somehow, some way I'm doing damage to their castle, and this looks like it's going to be it for them. Wow. Okay. Nice, solid looking win there. I was getting some great matches with this deck. And just about balancing things a little bit. So here it's like the mana cost for the starting card here is a bit high. So I have to wait. I got lucky here that my opponent did not have a rushing deck. But when they do have rushing decks, oftentimes I have to be very patient. And kind of just wait it out and play the right cards to counter their most dangerous damage dealing cards. And again here, very happy that my opponent is playing patiently because it gives me the chance to kind of get to the mid game. But of course, because I don't want to play against the dragon, I have to kind of try and really, the idea with this deck is to win between mid, really between mid and late game. But to kind of definitely dominate the mid game. So they come out with a Necromancer, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to get rid of that, but I kind of miss it. So chance for them, but they didn't really capitalize on that. And now I just kind of have complete control here again. So not really sure what their strategy there was, but it ends up kind of working out for me here in the end, and I can just walk through to a quick and easy victory. So let's try one more. And I didn't really gain the most trophies with this deck, but honestly, in fact, I think I lost some, but I had some really, really fun matches with it. And I think that's what I was appreciating the most. Some of the really entertaining matches I was able to get with this deck, and the crazy comebacks. And I do think the extra castle health does help, and I think it probably will help if I want to go for some more trophies this season. So just went in here and decided to keep pushing at this opponent's castle. But they start fighting back, and I think I kind of thought I'd won a little bit soon here. I didn't quite take out that ice elemental, and that hurt me too. So looks like I'm in great shape, but then I play the Black Knight right into the Black Witch. Got really caught out there. And then still doing great damage to their castle, but they start getting some good cards down. That Spike Statue was a great counter. And all of a sudden, that gust of wind, and I'm like, Golem, interesting. Now they're getting the Necromancer set up. What's going on here? And I let that top lane kind of walk to my castle and get them positioning, which I shouldn't have done. That was a poor move by me. I should have really stopped that top lane before it got into position like that, because it was like one skeleton that gave them positioning. And that Black Witch. And now they're suddenly pushing at my castle, and I'm in full panic mode trying to clear what they're playing. And all of a sudden it goes down to this, and they go ahead and say well played, but then I dropped the fire elemental on them. I don't think they were anticipating that. Pretty wild. So victory chest, anything good? So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys appreciated some of these crazy matches here that I came across. And I'll keep trying to share my best highlights and matches, as well as more gameplay from Castle Level 12. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments, and what other types of content I should create. Maybe subscribe if you're new to my channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.